Alright everybody, this is going to be a quick video on how to effectively use case studies to land billion-dollar B2B clients. Why should you listen to me? Here are some of the clients and meetings that I have booked with C-level executives for my clients and partners recently. So these are not marketing managers, vice presidents. I'm talking about C-level executives, CEOs, CFOs, chief human resources, chief information officers, the people who really make decisions. So this works exceptionally well with these billion-dollar companies where it's really hard to get on a meeting with an executive. However, it's also going to work with smaller companies too. Even a small landscaping company, this will work. So let's get into it. How do you currently use your case studies? I'm not just telling you to start using case studies. That's beginner stuff. But what's wrong with the way you're currently using them? So in the best case scenario, let's say your case study is you helped a software company make $500,000 extra a year through your service. You get cold emails and LinkedIn profiles of other companies that are also software companies, and if you're really savvy, maybe you sort by them having a similar revenue size or employee count. If you're doing it very well, you might even find software companies that are offering the same type of software, you know, another CRM software company or another security software company with similar keywords. So that will work somewhat well if you are going to be sending big scale, 10,000 emails. But if you want to land specific accounts or ideal customers, this isn't going to cut it. And even if you don't want specific accounts, 10,000 emails that I would call vaguely relevant are not going to perform as well as 1,000 emails that are hyper relevant. So what is hyper relevant and what is vaguely relevant? Imagine for a second you're the CEO of a landscaping company in Western Los Angeles. You've been doing it 20 years. You have a good idea of the other 3 or 4 competitors you have in your 5, 10, 15-mile radius. You get 2 emails from marketing companies. The first is vaguely relevant, email and value proposition. We helped a landscaping company like yours make an extra $1 million a year in revenue. Could I show you how it was done? Now, this isn't bad because it's a soft call to action. It's not asking for a meeting up front, and it's somewhat relevant as it's another landscaping company and you're a landscaping company. However, look at the difference between that and a hyper relevant email. We helped Joe's Landscaping, which is a local competitor that you recognize by name. You know them as a competitor of yours. You know the guy who runs it, etc. Increase their revenue by 25%. Could I send you a video breakdown of how we did it? Email A is how most of you do outreach. It's not bad as it's somewhat relevant. You've got the landscaping thing going for you, and you've got the soft call to action that doesn't have a meeting up front. But your prospect doesn't know if it was a landscaping company that you helped that was doing 50 million a year or 10 million a year that you helped gain 1 million a year in revenue. They don't know if you use strategies that they already use in their company, and most of the time they assume that they already are doing what you're offering, even if they're wrong. And they could be in a position where 1 million a year is doubling their revenue, which is totally unrealistic, or it could be it isn't even 1% of their revenue, so it's totally irrelevant to them. They're too big for you. And it's vague on how you'll show them what was done. Do they have to get on a call with you? Is it some long, boring PDF? What are they actually going to get shown and how? The more unanswered questions that the prospect has, the less likely you are to get a reply. Email B, however, immediately catches their attention with the name of a competitor they recognize. It's like if you were the CEO at Coca-Cola and someone said, PepsiCo, we helped them make an extra $100 million a year. Could I show you how it was done? That would instantly grab your attention because PepsiCo, immediately you know, is a direct competitor of yours. That gets them to read on, which is the most valuable thing you can have in an email. So being as they are direct competitors, this piece that email A doesn't have, whether or not they're in the same revenue range or they're even offering the same service. Some landscaping companies might specialize in this and some might specialize in something else. If it's a direct competitor, there's none of that. They're going to be in a similar revenue range and they know it's going to be relevant to them. Again, it also has a clear call to action. It's not show you how it was done. It's can I show you a video breakdown of how we did it? This is a real no-brainer. I helped your competitor do XYZ that was beneficial for them. Can I show you how we did it with a video? Super easy. Who would say no to that? And that's what you want to be thinking when you write an email. email like this. So even if, let's say, they're not focused on growing their revenue or they're not looking for a new marketing agency, if they see that their direct competitor used you, they will always want to know what their competitors are doing, especially if it's as easy as getting a video by replying to an email. I mean, companies literally do research and have people on full time, especially big companies, that are looking at what are our competitors doing and how can we implement it for ourselves. So imagine you send an email and you say, yeah, we did this for them. Can I show you how we did it? Obviously, they're going to say yes to that. This is common sense. I didn't have to tell you why. You could have figured that email B is going to work way better. So now that you understand why this works, why haven't you been doing it? The most common reasons that are somewhat reasonable, but I'll show you why they're wrong, that people aren't doing this are A, you don't understand how you can actually get lists of your direct competitors, of your case studies or your previous clients. There's two ways you can do this. A is manually, and this is best for local business. This is really hard and really time consuming, but it's still going to work. So you can have an assistant do this, or you can do it yourself. You can go on Yellow Pages, industry specific databases, and job boards. For example, civil engineering firms in New York. You can look up on the internet. There are full-time businesses where all they do is, if I search competitors of HSBC Bank, I will get a list from all of these data companies with all their competitors listed right here. That will work for any company that's a decent size. Second thing, if it's a smaller company and it's local business, you can look up HVAC in Los Angeles and bang, now you have these Google My Business pages and there will be hundreds of these companies. And then there's also the infinite other options on the internet. If you want to find them, search is your best friend and then track it in a spreadsheet. Now, that's very time consuming and I don't personally do that. Here's the way you can do it quickly and actually get these lists without having to manually scrape Google pages and all these articles and all this garbage. So let's take HSBC and we are going to go on Crunchbase. Now you can get a free trial and use a tool like Instant Data Scraper here to get around actually paying for this. I'm not going to endorse that or anything, but let's just pretend you pay for it, okay? What you want to do is you can go to companies similar to HSBC, for example, and now we have 106 of their competitors. Now, if we want to be making sure that we're only targeting companies of a similar size, we know that they are going to have big revenue competitors because HSBC is a huge company. So we can say only above 500 employees, for example. And now we have 47 companies that we know are competitors to HSBC. And this will work even better for companies that are not multinational because, as you can see, we're getting a lot of not as relevant competitors, but it's still going to work here. These are competitors of HSBC. And they would want to know what these guys are implementing and they're not. I've put in HSBC because that's our example. And we can see I've put in this limit for number of employees as well because I only want companies that are a similar size or at least close. So we could go bigger. And we have 39 competitors of HSBC. Now, let's say we had provided a service to HSBC. We save them $100 million or $10 million. Now I have a list of companies. Their executives would be very keen to find out how HSBC, one of their direct competitors, has saved $10 million because they're in the same business and they would want to know that. Trust me. So now that we have the company names, how can we actually get the contacts at those companies that are competitors of HSBC? We can go put them in here. I've put a few of them in. I haven't put all of them. If you were doing this for real, you'd go through, put all of them. Next thing we're going to do is, let's say we wanted to pitch the CFOs. We would go here, put in CFO, head of finance, treasurer, controller, chief accounting officer, head of accounting. Okay, anyway, now we can see this list. We have 820 people at these companies that we can reach out to. And obviously I haven't even put in all the companies, but this is going to be hyper relevant to them because what we're going to do now that we have this, we can actually send them these hyper relevant emails and they're going to work like a charm. Next thing is, a lot of people say, you know, my case studies, they're only going to have 10, 20 direct competitors, and that isn't enough for me to do outreach to them. So first thing is, you saw you have to make the most out of each direct competitor. Like I just did, you need to search for multiple different job titles. You can go outside of your normal full range when you're doing this because it's so relevant to them that it can get forwarded to the person you're trying to reach, or it will still get looked into. Usually companies will say, okay, well, we work with the CFO or we work with the CIO. Well, for this, expand your reach a little bit. Go for 5, 6, 7, 10 different job titles in the organization, because even if you reach the wrong person, you will get redirected to the right person when it is something that a competitor of theirs is doing. Next thing, use more case studies. Most of the time, companies have 1 or 2 PDFs of case studies at most. Some even have none available publicly, or maybe at most 10 if it's a real big company. But you should have dozens, hundreds, or even thousands of previous clients as a company that's been in business for however long, or if you're doing the marketing on behalf of that company. You can find competitors of every single one of those previous clients, and you can find 10 or 20 competitors each. So if you have 100 clients and you can find 20 competitors of each client, well, now you have 2,000 different companies that you can reach out to with a hyper relevant offer, just based off the work you did with those 100 previous clients. How this actually works in real life and the math behind it. Working with one of my clients, I got a list of 30 of their previous clients, which is a perfectly reasonable number if you're a company that's been in business, say 5 years, to have 30 clients, plus the result that they achieved for each of those 30. This was done when they only had 3 case studies on their website. They had 30 clients, but only had 3 case studies. You need to be using all your previous clients, not just the 3 case studies, to achieve any type of scale with this type of campaign. Each of the 30 previous clients had an average of, let's say, 25 direct competitors that I could pull. Each of the 25 direct competitors had an average of, say, 10 relevant job titles, contacts with verified emails that I could reach out to. So that means 250 total contacts for every campaign. But remember, we can do 30 campaigns. So 30 campaigns of 250 contacts is 7,500 contacts getting reached with a hyper relevant email that gets a 8 to 15% reply rate, in comparison to a 1 to 3 and maybe 5 if you're doing really good on a vaguely relevant campaign. One thing I forgot to mention here, it only takes one person from each company to get the whole company pulled in as a client. It only takes one of them to be interested. So taking 10 job titles really increases your odds, rather than just trying to get in with the CFO. This takes more work. You might have to manually go through their competitors, figure out who their competitors are, and then put them in this list, and then scrape their emails here. But more work means more results, because 95% or even 99% of outbound marketing teams aren't doing this, and they're not doing it at scale. They might be doing it, oh, well, we sent 100 emails this week. You can do 10 times that volume. So more work equals more results. You can try it for yourself, and I'm sure you will come back and think this was valuable. If you don't want to try it for yourself, you can hire me to do it for you instead if you're a big company. So yes, this is complicated, and it's more work than just going on Apollo and saying, hey, I want companies that are in, let's say, financial services. Yay, I have 56,000 companies I can reach out to. But this isn't going to be a hyper relevant campaign. It's not going to work as well. So it does take more work. But if you want to have a really high reply rate, really engaged leads when they actually come in on a meeting, much more likely to close. This is more work, but you will get more results. I promise you. Try it for yourself. And if you don't want to try it for yourself, you can hire me to do it for you instead. I've answered your questions on how you can get these leads, how you can structure the campaign, and how you can find the direct competitors of billion-dollar companies, email their executives, and get a meeting out of them. But what do you actually email these people? Well, that's what my other videos are for. Take a look at this video. This one landed a meeting with a $25 billion company executive. I believe it was CFO. Give it a watch. I hide nothing. The full script is there for you to adapt it to your own campaigns and your own marketing. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe. Remember that all the tools I use to send emails are in the description of this video, including AI personalized videos, the sending tools that I can send thousands of emails a day with, loads and loads of other tools that are super helpful.